Welcome to the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, a podcast where we teach speakers how to land paid speaking engagements and corporate contracts. Each week, we deliver high-quality content that teaches you how to level up your speaking business. Be sure to join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group after having your mind blown by this information-filled episode. Now, here's your host, Ashley Kirkwood, lawyer and professional speaker. This is the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast.
Hey guys, it's Ashley Kirkwood with the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. To Tasha Brown. I'm super excited to have her on today for our coaching call. Tasha, welcome to Speak Your Way to Cash.
Thank you, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about what you do professionally and how you want speaking to play a role in that.
So professionally, I am an associate director of entrepreneurial services with the Women's Business Development Center. So what that means is I run our Illinois Small Business Development Center out in the south suburbs. In that role, I work with entrepreneurs. I help them with their business plan, with strategizing, with understanding financials. And so what I'm looking to do is to segue and leverage that experience and that knowledge into actually a faith-based model for my ministry. So by vocation, I am an ordained minister. I've pastored a church. I'm looking to show the intersection between faith, finances, and entrepreneurship. So I'm trying to find a way to leverage what I know, what I've done, what I've experienced in the entrepreneurial realm into the faith realm.
Nice. And when you were a pastor, were you typically speaking at other people's churches as well?
Oh, yeah. But for the most part, I mean, I was at my church Sunday after Sunday, but I absolutely spoke at other churches. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. And so were you able to find that, because I know that sometimes in the nonprofit and faith-based world, it's not, in the speaking industry, we don't consider those to be, we don't always consider those two lanes to lead to a lot of paid engagement. But were you finding that to be different, or did you have success in getting paid to speak in those realms, or how did that work for you?
Yeah, it is definitely a different paradigm. For the most part, you're given honorariums. Some people ask you, what is your honorarium? Others just offer you whatever they're able to offer. And so what I've done is to create a different space, and that's through the conference space. So even for the faith-based community, conferences are ticketed events. Either you can host them yourself or be invited to speak on that platform and receive yet again another honorarium. But this time it might be more, depending on, your influence, I should say, and the amount of time you've been out there in the arena. So two different contexts. Right? Either preaching behind the pulpit in a church setting or being a conference speaker for women's weekends or any other type of women's event.
Okay, great. And in terms of your financial goals for speaking, are you looking to make speaking something that is bringing in an extra $50,000 a year, an extra 6 figures a year? How much do you want, or how far do you want to take the speaking side of your business, and how much time do you have to invest in it?
Ashley, that is such a great question, and you would think that I would have a number on the tip of my tongue, but I don't, because I do sit in that tension of faith-based, what do you want to do? How do you, quote unquote, sell yourself? What will be the topic? So I don't know. So let me say this. I want to share my dream with you really quickly, and then maybe I can back my way into that answer.
Yeah.
So while in high school, Les Brown was very popular, and I heard you mention his name on one of your lives recently.
Yeah.
Les Brown was so popular, and literally he was the number one motivator for me going to get a degree in human resource development. I worked with an advisor when I was in high school, and she advised that I go to Northeastern because they had this human resource development track, and with that I can become a trainer. And so I went to school for that. But then along the way, life happened and that dream kind of fizzled. But I've been a public speaker for quite some time. So I don't know. So to answer your question, I see myself speaking in some capacity. I I can see it being a six-figure gig. I really can. I just don't know how to get there.
Definitely. So one of the things that I'll say, and I know that this is sometimes challenging for people who are looking to do more so, like if they're looking, their goal is to use speaking to help the faith-based community or women entrepreneurs, or there's like a civic lean to their speaking career, is that you have to have that number first. Because then you can figure out realistically what audiences you can afford to serve. And I say afford to serve because honestly, speaking takes a lot of time and travel and energy. And if you aren't careful, you can end up doing a ton of engagements and not having a lot to show for it financially. So for what I typically recommend is that you can do something like for every 10 paid engagements, I will donate 1 engagement to a school, or I donate 2 engagements a year. So we typically donate 2 engagements a year, but that donating looks different. So it may be that we take a reduced fee from a nonprofit. There's a nonprofit that wants us to come out in 2021, May 2021. And so we're going to work with them because we can drive there, but they're still paying. They're just not, they just can't afford like the full fee. So I would think through, is it ministry or is it business that you want to do? My dad's a pastor, my husband's a pastor. They don't get paid for most of the things they do. Like, they just don't. Like, they don't, for church, they take up a love offering. Depending on the size, it can be good, but that's definitely not why they do it. You know what I mean? Like, they're definitely not like, I'm a professional speaker and I'm going to go and do this, even though I typically recommend people to look at some of the big name pastors as speakers to get tips for how they should move a crowd. Because if you look at a T.D. Jakes or even Sarah Jakes, the way that they tell stories and the way that there is a clear beginning, middle, and end to their story, and there's clear preparation that goes into how they're going to convey the story, and there's always a clear theme, that is prevalent throughout all major speakers in the church circuit. Now, T.D. Jakes also has a book, so he'd be a perfect example of someone who does ministry as well as business. And both him and Sarah also have fee structures, and people submit their fees and their budgets before you can even book them anyways. Now, that's on the biggest scale, but I do think having a number, whether it's even like, okay, my first year, I'm going to do it part-time, I would love to bring in an extra $25,000 from speaking. Then you can go from that and say, all right, $25,000. Well, how many speeches do I have time to do? I have a full-time job. I still do ministry. I probably could do 1 speech a month. All right, well, then that's 12 engagements, and then you have to consider travel. So now if I want to get $25,000 off of doing 12 engagements, then I need to be averaging $2,000 to $2,500 per engagement. And $2,500 will put me over that marker. And that's a lower fee to start off with. But that fee is typically acceptable to large conferences for a breakout session and colleges. Even small colleges typically can do between $2,000 to $3,000. Larger state colleges, so universities that are funded by the state, can typically go up to $5,000 to $6,000 on the high end, but definitely like $3,500 to $4,500 is their sweet spot. So then you have to, once you know, like, okay, I can only do 12, 1 a month is reasonable because I have a job, I have other stuff to do, I have a family. Then you can figure out, okay, what you need to average to reach that number. And then from there, you're like, all right, well, if between $2,000 to $2,500 is what I need to get to reach my number on the lowest end, then I should set my fee at $3,500 and just make it, negotiable. And tell them, like, well, typically my fee is $3,500. Does that work for your budget? Normally you'd ask their budget first. People don't typically give you their budget, though, I'll just say. They normally don't. But at least you have a budget that's set over and above your target number, and you can start figuring out, well, who has that money? And if they don't have that money, then I'm not going to focus on those audiences until I've reached my goal. Then you can say, like, hey, I will do, a couple of different women's conferences for the community. I'll do something else that I have time to do. But I don't take I don't put free engagements on my calendar in advance. So if someone calls and they're like, hey, we'd love to book you 6 months out and we don't have a budget, one, I don't do events for free, but unless I know the person really well. But two, I can't put it on my calendar until 2 to 3 weeks in advance at the most. Because I'm not selling that date for free when I could get another engagement for pay. And I also don't want to be the person who's like, because it's free, I'll put it on there and then I'll just cancel on them, because you don't want to do that either. Mm-hmm. So I would think.
So then, what are you telling them? So what do you tell them then? What do you tell them?
Oh, I tell them just that. Like, hey, this sounds great. Unfortunately, because you all don't have a budget, our policy is to not secure a date without a deposit. So if I can do this, you'd have to follow up with me 3 weeks before the event. And if you still need someone, we can consider it at that time if that date is still open.
Got it. Okay.
So you're just honest with them. I mean, people get it. Like, they get the fact that this is a business, and I don't speak for free. And when you think about it, you have so much experience speaking and presenting. You know you're going to be delivering a very, very, very high-quality product. You don't give that away for free, and you have to leave your house. So when people want you to do something for free, they're not even giving you gas money. You have to pay gas. You still have to do your hair and makeup. You still have to have an outfit. Now I'm about to have a little baby. Like, no, I'm not leaving the house. I like my house, not as much as now that we have to like our houses this much to stay in them for months at a time. But I don't really, normally I don't like to leave. But that's how you would say it. You would just be upfront with them and just say, hey, I have a policy where I don't book out free engagements more than 2 to 3 weeks in advance. And typically it's 2 weeks. So you should follow up with me a month in advance, and I can let you know if that date is still available. And in saying that, I'll tell you, we've had people who said, hey, well, we really want it booked. We really want it booked. So we actually have $3,500. With that, can we at least get the date on that? And I'm like, how do you go from I have no money for you to okay? You know what I mean? That's
hilarious.
So it's literally actually converted engagements into paid engagements. And I don't blame them. Most people are just trying to stretch their resources. But, especially in certain markets like the nonprofit world, I get it. But it's just, you have to be looking out for you first, too. So that's how I handle that. And for the conferences, women's conferences, I know you mentioned women's conferences. Those events are so popular that a lot of times they do call for speakers, and they get so many applications that they don't necessarily feel the need to pay speakers unless that speaker can also sell tickets. So it's a name that's big enough where they can draw an audience. So when you're pitching those individuals, I think it's important to keep in mind that they probably aren't paying the majority of their speakers. They're paying some of their speakers, and conferences select which speakers they're going to pay, especially women's conferences, based on the mass appeal of the speaker. So you almost want to let them know, like, hey, I would love to talk to your audience about these topics. And I have a wide amount of women who would really be interested in this topic, because over the past year, I've helped over 5,000 women entrepreneurs to, expand their businesses by X, Y, and Z. Because then they're like, okay, well, she has an audience, so if she spoke, we could promote her, she'll promote it, blah, blah, blah. This may be worth it. Because you want them to see it as like, okay, I'm getting a speaker, but I'm also getting a good marketer.
Right. Okay.
But I would look at associations in terms of people that have budgets.
Okay. I did see your link on one of your lives as to how to go about those associations, so I definitely would check that out. Okay.
Yeah, for sure, because associations are going to be like the Association of Financial Planners. So they're going to be a large amount of them. They're independent contractors, but they're basically entrepreneurs. So they pay a fee to be a part of this large group, and then they all come together for a national conference. You could teach them the same skills you're going to teach to entrepreneurs, but they're an association. They have a budget. They have members. They do this conference every year. It's solidified, and they're used to paying.
Okay.
Because not all conferences are used to paying speakers.
Okay. Well, can you give me that link while I have you on the line, or just?
Yeah. If you Google association directory, it'll come up.
Okay.
And it's like the first thing that comes up. And it's just directoryofassociations.com.
Okay.
And for everyone listening, you can go to that link, directoryofassociations.com, and you can kind of sort through all the different associations that exist. But think broadly about entrepreneurs, because a lot of those conferences, when we think of women's conferences, we're like, okay, Essence hosts one, Black Enterprise hosts one. Mm-hmm. And I have been, in touch with event coordinators from those conferences. They typically don't pay or have a small budget unless you're a celebrity. Mm. But if you think about the Society for Dental Practice Owners, okay, now we're getting somewhere. These people all own their own dental practices. They're in an association. It doesn't sound as, sexy as Essence or any of that, but it is an association where they're used to bringing in high-quality experts and speakers.
Right. Okay.
And funeral home directors. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're an essential business. Mm-hmm. So even now, there are people who are still operating, and that's the other compounding layer of this is how do you promote your business with what we're dealing with now?
Mm. Yeah, that's a big question. Mm-hmm.
So you'll have to just think about who's still in business, who's still working, who still can afford to bring people on.
Hey guys, it's Ashley Kirkwood here, and I know this is an amazing interview. And if you are someone who is interested in taking your speaking career to the next level, then do I have something for you? Okay, I need you to go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay. That's ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay. The link is also in the show notes that you can grab the Speak Your Way to Cash live replay, which has 7 modules, a ton of information about how you can start speaking your way to cash. Now, this training is absolutely action-packed, phenomenal. It has additional resources. It has templates. It has a podcast pitch template, a college pitch template, something you can send to media outlets to get on television. It has everything you need to develop a sales strategy, a press strategy, and a plan to skyrocket your speaking career. And it is crazy affordable, okay? So head on over there right now, ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay, and grab your copy today.
I'm looking through a few of them now. Okay, I see it. I can look at the listing by state. This is good. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's one of the ways, because associations, typically the larger ones for their national conferences, they're looking for speakers. So you'll want to go through, figure out which of the associations would cater towards individuals that would qualify as entrepreneurs or business owners, and then look at whether they host a national conference every year and speak to those audiences. But also, you'll want to think about, do you have anything to sell? Because associations do pay speakers. The other way people who speak to entrepreneurs make a lot of their money is by speaking at large conferences where they can actually pitch from the stage. So they're also a business consultant on the side, or they're a business coach on the side, or they have coaching sessions for $500 or $600 an hour on the side. And so they can talk about that to an audience of potential customers and do quite well, even if they don't get paid to speak. So when we sponsor conferences through my law firm, Mobile General Counsel, that will be why we do that. Because it's like, okay, they're all entrepreneurs, they need trademarks, this is perfect.
Okay.
So that's something else to consider is like, do you have a package or a consulting package or something that you can offer to this audience for pay? Because once people hear you speak, you're speaking as an expert, they're going to want to hire you in some instances.
Okay. Writing that down as well. Okay.
Yeah, so definitely keep that in mind.
Speaking or the services that I will offer afterwards, the fee or my services.
Yeah, and typically you'd always want to get the fee, because you can always talk about your services afterwards.
Okay.
So get the fee. That's like the primary thing. But if there's an opportunity and you have services to offer entrepreneurs, that may be beneficial as well. Do you have a service that you sell independently as like a consultant to entrepreneurs as of right now?
No, not at this time. No, not at this time.
So then you definitely want to focus on the fee.
Mm-hmm.
Or book sales or there's all types of ways to package your expertise. If you have a book out that would be relevant to the audience.
Yeah. Okay. I do have a few book topics that are just swimming around in my head. So I'll be working on those too. Okay.
Definitely.
So now what's next?
So what are some things that you think you can implement as a result of this call? Because we've gone over a few different things. What are you thinking now?
Actually, just digging through this directory of associations, just really, tearing through it, even as you mentioned, seeing if they have an annual conference or anything like that. So looking through that, so that's one takeaway. The other is to think about the books that I have in my head. I mean, I really do have a few things that I've been inspired to write. I just haven't put pen to paper just yet. Part of this is I'm not in a rush. I think you mentioned before, it's different when you are working full-time because you're not looking to, you're not hungry, to use what Les Brown would say. You're not as hungry or as motivated to do what you have to do. Mm-hmm. But I recognize that, all things come to an end. So this job will come to an end at some point. And so what would I have built when that happens? And so even as I share with entrepreneurs, it's really important to start in the building phase when you are working. So I need to get to building. I need to build. So
definitely
thinking about the
you can do it right.
Services. Yeah, thinking about the services. Every coach needs a coach. That's why, I tapped into you. So even if I shared this information with others, sometimes you just need somebody to share it with you, just to kind of keep you accountable. So looking at my fee, putting down a number for myself, having a number, setting a goal annually, and then having a fee for each event that I want to have or be called to do. And then thinking about the services that I could package after that event and my book. So those 4 things. Yes, 4 things.
Hey guys, Ashley Kirkwood here, and I just want to take a moment to invite you out to the Speak Your Way to Cash retreat. If you enjoy this podcast, then you will love the Speak Your Way to Cash 2020 retreat in October, taking place right outside Chicago, Illinois. This retreat is for speakers looking to grow their speaking businesses, land corporate or college clients, and skyrocket their earning potential as a speaker. The in-depth sessions at this multi-day retreat will leave you understanding exactly the high-level client acquisition strategies that I use to land corporate clients. You'll also know the exact steps you need to be taking to grow your current business. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. The sessions are amazing. We talk about selling your signature speech, and we actually have time to go over the techniques of speaking. So if you want to become a better speaker as well as a higher paid speaker, then you should come out. We have another session called TEDx Secrets. Bring your laptops. We are actually going to be looking up and applying to TEDx Talks at the retreat. This session will be critical if you're someone who wants to land a TEDx Talk. Client secrets. You'll hear from actual clients about what they want from speakers just like you, and selling success. We cannot do a retreat without talking about selling. But here's the session that I'm most excited about. We are going to do a vision organizational chart party. That means we are going to have not just vision boards, but vision org boards. We are going to map out how your speaking organization should be staffed, what you want that to look like, and how to use global outsourcing in a way that lets you fund the positions in your company that are currently open. So it's for you if you're ready to level up. If so, meet me in Chicago in October. Reserve your seat now. I'm only taking 30 speakers on this retreat. So go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/2020 retreat. And the best part is you can get early bird pricing now of $550, or you can reserve your seat for just $75 down and make payments until the retreat. That's right. You can either pay in full and get early bird pricing of $550 for the entire 2-day experience, or you can reserve your seat for just $75 down. Whatever you decide to do, make sure you're in the room. It's going to be impactful, and I'm ready to help you start speaking your way to cash in person in Chicago in October. Again, the website is ashleynicolekirkwood.com/2020 retreat. See you soon. Can't wait, guys.
explore things.
Definitely. And I know you're working on your website as well. So
I am. Mm-hmm.
One of the things I would say is because you have a few different audiences that you speak to, think through how you want to lay out your website. So do you want, if you're going to go the entrepreneurship route, the associations won't care much about the faith side of it. They just won't. Right. But they are the ones with the budgets. So how do you make sure your website speaks to the audience that you'd like to speak to? And there's a couple different ways you can do it. So your landing page, and I would use your name, TashaBrown.com, if it's available. But
it's not. I had it once and I let it lapse and somebody else grabbed it. So no.
Oh no. So maybe you can use drtashabrown.com.
Yeah, something.
Or see what variation is available, because then you can have I would call it like an inspirational speaker, or you could have entrepreneurship speaker, like different buttons that they can press to go to different sections of your website on the homepage.
That. Yes. Love it.
That way it doesn't really cross, the lines aren't crossed for anyone. And it's really easy for them to see, what they're looking for. It's easy for them to see where they should be going. So that's something to consider. But while you're working, I would 100% use all the resources that you can from having a job. And by that, I mean, you're getting a steady paycheck. You're learning a lot. You're helping a lot of people. You're building up expertise in the area that you speak in. So I would use all of that. Like, get a really dope website built out. Take your time with it. Get a book coach, someone who can walk you through the book. And I would title the book whatever your signature speech title is. That way it kind of flows with your brand. But really think through these things. And if you can, get someone to walk you through those brand elements. That's something we do during our VIP days, is we kind of walk through what do we need to do in order to get you pitch ready, which includes your website and things of that nature, but then also what's going to be the marketing plan. So start developing your email list now.
Yeah, that's good.
And building the relationships and putting out content and getting the LinkedIn ready and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just taking notes. Okay.
No, definitely.
Great.
So this is good. I mean, you have a lot of places to go. Do you already have a signature speech or something that you're pitching out to these audiences?
No. No. Not yet.
So that's going to be that's going to be that will make pitching easier. Because then you're pitching one thing to all audiences, but you're just tailoring the message to the audience that you're pitching it to.
Yeah, it's not as easy though. I tell you, it's not easy. I just don't know where I want to land. So that's the challenge, because there's a lot of things, of course, I can pull together. But what is it that I really want to have and make it work for me? And I just don't know yet. So I'll figure it out.
What is it that faith has to do with entrepreneurship in your own words?
It has everything. Faith has everything to do with entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship has everything to do with faith. Excuse me, because in both of them, there's this element of risk. Also, I believe that it's something that God wants for His people. I do believe that entrepreneurship was something that is divinely given. The ability to make money or produce from your hands, I think it's just a divine task, and so. I want to shift the culture. I want to shift the culture from being consumers to producers, and to understand that we have the power to create. So I have these words and I have these thoughts. I just don't know how to make it a comprehensive idea, but I want to change the culture. That's what I really want to do. I want to change the culture and the mindset and help people shift their mindset from, consuming to producing. And I don't know how to do that.
So it sounds like there's a lot of different things that can relate, whether someone is spiritual or not. One being that faith is essentially a belief system, like your ability to believe in something even before you can see it is divine. Regardless of what your belief system is, it's just divine. It's not something everyone has the courage to do. For entrepreneurs, you talked about producing. Basically, the three words that came to my mind are like producing, pivoting, and profiting. Like those are essentially like three elements all entrepreneurs need. They need the ability to produce. They need the ability to pivot. Times like this show us that. And they have to be able to turn a profit. If you, through all of your studying of businesses, can talk through how an entrepreneur can produce, pivot, and profit, then the message of faith can be weaved through that regardless of who the audience that you're speaking to.
So
and I would study faith.
Wait, are you going to trademark that?
No, I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going to trademark that.
Give me that for free. Is that mine? Can I take that? I love it.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, you do want to think through, like, how are you going to, because your speech will be based on, and this is what I would recommend, research faith as an educational concept. And what you'll find is that the data, the research actually proves biblical principles about faith, which you probably know. But if you can use the scientific data throughout your signature speech, then it's going to be it's going to be able to connect to any audience. Like I talk about love, the love method of communication, and love is a principle that's all throughout the Bible. When I talk about it, though, I just basically talk about the science of love and the concepts that I talk about in my speech. And they are proven by the Bible, but I don't have to mention any Bible verses when I'm talking to a secular audience. So it's really digging deep into, and when you look at some of the best pastors, what they do well is they make spiritual principles plain to someone who can almost only see in the natural. It's like they can tell you, like, okay, look at this cup. I'm going to teach you about faith by looking at this cup and this and this water that's in this cup. It's really a skill. And so if you can look at the science, you'll see that the science confirms the biblical principles, but the science gets you to a larger audience. And then really you're talking to them about faith without using spiritual terminology. So as Christians, we have our own language. People are like, how are you doing? Blessed and highly favored. Faith the size of a mustard seed. But like regular people, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like what does faith mean to someone who doesn't know about mustard seeds and all of that?
Right.
So if that's what you want to talk about, I would research faith as an educational concept and look at all the data that proves people who believe in something do better than those who believe in nothing or have nothing to believe in. So you deal with faith, you deal with hope, you look at scientific data on that, and then you're able to really figure out, well, what is my signature speech? So like produce, pivot, profit, I've talked about those concepts before. That wouldn't be the name of a signature speech. Those are just concepts. But your signature speech, so mine is the currency of confidence. That's the name of it. And then the framework is MBA, mindset, beliefs, and action. So you want to think through what's going to be your framework, what are the big concepts you're going to teach about, and then what are the things that you've lived through that make it uniquely you.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Okay.
It's a very introspective process, I think.
It is, and this is the perfect time to do that.
Oh yeah, right. While you're at home, because we can't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, but even how people are turning their attention towards faith with this whole novel coronavirus. So just even from a faith perspective, this is a great time to begin working on that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, people need something to believe in. Everyone needs something to believe in, whether they're believers or not. It's just a way that we as humans live on. Like I have to believe that tomorrow will be better than today, or else I could easily fall into a depression.
Right.
And there's some studies that say entrepreneurs are more prone to depression.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's because of the highs and the lows and the emotions that are attached to it, and people not being able to separate themselves from their product. And so if someone rejects the product, people feel as though they're rejecting them. And so it's a lot. Yeah. Things are interwoven. But
I mean, it's really interesting. So there's a Forbes article that says entrepreneurs are 2 times more likely to suffer from depression, 6 times more likely to have ADHD, and 3 times more likely to struggle with addiction. And so when you think about all of that and how your goal is to shift the culture, it has to be that you have to almost remove yourself from the product. That way you're not equating the two together.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's a mindset that's needed to produce. You have to believe someone's going to buy it if you're going to produce it.
Right.
So, there's a lot to explore here, and I think it's a great topic. And I would focus on business owners generally and associations that target them. And also, once you get your topic down and you think through how faith plays a role and all of that, it may even be a topic that's great for colleges as well, because so many students are trying to figure out their path to life. And what you do is help people grow businesses. For them, they're trying to figure out, how do I pivot from college to my professional career? So it may be a speech that can be, the general concept applies to a variety of different audiences, but it's the same name, the same 3 core principles, but those principles can apply to a variety of different audiences. I like those types of speeches the best.
Okay. I didn't hear that last part. I heard you say that that's what you like the best, but right before that was what now?
They don't. Your speech does. It could be one speech that applies to a variety of different audiences.
Okay.
And you would just tailor it, and the big principles would just be altered. What you would say underneath those 3 main points of your speech would be altered to fit the audience that you're speaking to.
Well, this is great. Okay. I did see, again, from the live that you had, or one of the lives that you had, I did see that you gave also the link to look at the college speeches or something you shared. I wrote it down. I will say I did write that down somewhere.
Yeah, that's just under my, you know what? I think it was Campus Speaks. Yeah, there's a lot of different colleges that... There's a lot of different speakers that are represented by Campus Speak, and it's a large speakers bureau for college speakers. Underneath their speakers, you can go to speakers by topic. If you go to campusspeak.com, and it's CAMPUSPEAK.
Okay.
Yeah, Campus
But I did notice that one of the topics was something similar to wellness or personal development. That's what it was, personal development.
Yep. That's a big topic. And what you want to do is see, if you click on a particular topic and there's only one speaker that does it, that's not the umbrella you want to be underneath.
Okay.
So you want, it to have at least 5 or 6 different speakers underneath that particular umbrella.
Okay. Good. Well, Ms. Ashley Kirkwood, thank you and congratulations. You might have a few more other questions, I'm sorry, or some things, but I do want to say congratulations on your trademark. I saw that today on Facebook.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah, the currency of confidence, our signature was just trademarked, one of the first ones. Yeah, we're really excited. So where can our audience find you if they want to keep in touch with you, or if someone's listening who hires speakers, where can they find you on the internet?
You know what? I'm going to just have them. I'll direct them to my LinkedIn page. I am Tasha Brown on LinkedIn. Let me give you my exact. I forgot to do that part. Let's do this.
And I can link to it too.
Okay. Yep. So Tasha Brown on LinkedIn, and on Instagram, Reverend Dr. Tasha B. Reverend Dr. That's REVDRTASHAB on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. Hopefully you have some good ideas. We went through a lot of different things, so there will be a ton for you to start digging into and working through. And I'm excited to see the progress.
Yeah, great. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. Wasn't that interview amazing? If you're anything like me, you have pages full of notes. But here's the thing. Before you head out, I want you to go to facebook.com and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. That is where I am. That's where a ton of other speakers are, a ton of other people who listen to the show. We all congregate there and chat. And it's 100% free. Now, if you're ready to take your speaking career to the next level, I have 2 ways for you to do that. One, you can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com/SYWTC live replay and pick up the live replay. That training is 7 modules, chock full of information. It's crazy. Go over there, read all about it. Or if you want a more personal experience, you already know that you want to be a speaker. You're ready to fully commit and you want someone to walk you through it and save you tons of time Googling and doing it on your own, then book a VIP day with me. You can go to ashleynicolekirkwood.com, scroll down until you see the VIP day section and get more information on that there. All right. Thank you guys again for watching. Please do not forget to leave us a review. That is how we keep this train rolling and get some of the best speakers in the world to get on this show. So please, please, please leave a review. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and Facebook in the Speak Your Way to Cash group, Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show. And I'd be more than happy to chat with you and say hi. All right, y'all have an awesome, awesome day.